For staying with us. So in this segment, we'll be looking at the last Saturday's election. They have the governorship and the state assembly elections. Our guest will be talking about the overall conduct, the peculiarities of the state, INEC, politicians, political parties, electorates, and the whole 9 yards. Our guest is the one and only Babajide Kolade Otitoju in the building. Woo! Good to have you.
Good morning, women. I'm so happy that I'm in your company.
Yes.
I believe I'm in good company.
Yeah, BKO, you're in good hands. Let's start with the last story we just talked about. This young Rukayat Olurukomi Morayo. She's now a member of the House of Assembly in Kwara State. We're really happy under the party APC also. This young girl, the only experience she's had is president of our what they call a student government in her university. What are your thoughts on the fact that this young girl was able to get over 7,000? I think I had the numbers before, 7,000, over 7,000 plus votes.
Yes.
To herself.
You know, the governor of Kwara State, Governor Abdulrazak, did what many people described as the unthinkable. When he brought young people into his cabinet, and he brought a sizable percentage of women into his cabinet. And one of the commissioners then was a youth corps member, if you recall. So he's always had the desire to get the young people involved in governance, and no doubt about it, he permitted this to happen because, look, let's face it, House of Assembly elections, governors put more than a passing interest in the House of Assembly elections because they always want their own people to get into the House so that they can pass their bills without difficulty.
Yes.
And all that. So if the governor didn't want her
she didn't get the support from the...
She won't get the ticket in the first place. So we have to give kudos to the governor for allowing such a young person to get into the House of Assembly. And for me, I'm not surprised because he had done that earlier. He had done something similar to that by appointing a core member into her cabinet, his cabinet.
That's very good.
So
very
that's
progressive.
That's telling you that this
look into the future.
Right.
yes.
Yeah. So you know, it's one thing to want a young person who is male to be a part of government. It's another thing to want a young person who is female to be a part of government. What does this say about the people of what's the city again? Kwara State, about allowing sort of equal opportunity to both male and female?
You know why I'm excited about this? She won election in one of the most conservative voting areas in the whole of Kwara State. Ilorin Emirates. They are very religious, they are very conservative. I don't know any other part of Kwara where they are actually more conservative and more focused
Straight jacket.
on the religion, on Islam as religion, like the Ilorin people. And this guy came out of Ilorin Emirates. That says a lot, to suggest that things are changing. If you also look at the pattern of voting in Adamawa State, Binani won in the most conservative.
She's yet to be announced, so I've been careful.
No, I'm talking about
the polling units.
Polling units, the local government. She won Adamawa South, she won Adamawa North, and she won Fufore. Fufore is just about 15 kilometers to the state capital. Those three local governments are the most conservative, with very thick Fulani population in those areas. So it's already a shock to people. Adamawa South is our own constituency, and that's where the Lamido of Adamawa is. People have told us that the traditional institution does not want to see a woman as governor because it will look odd for the king to go and pay obeisance
Oh,
to
to a woman.
But
Wow.
she won resoundingly.
In that place?
In those local, I'm not saying that she won the election because Fufore is still very much in contention, and the PDP does not agree with the
Result.
I think the last because figures have been bandied around. There is one in which she was said to have scored 37,700 or so to 7,000 by the governor. There's another one in which she is believed to have scored 26,000, while the governor scored 21,000. I think it's that second one that they...
Wasn't the contention.
Yes.
So we wait for those winners, but it's just the interesting fact that, let's come back to Ms. Shitu, because she is
Don't
young.
forget also that the commissioner was a woman. That young commissioner, the core member.
Yes, she was. I wanted to, when you talked about the governor giving room to this, that, power still is very much with the people.
Yes.
My brother, uncle, supposedly, my grandfather's child, ran for House of Assembly in Edo State. And the APC, there was serious contention. I have videos of the deputy governor trying to stop collation. And the people resisted it. I saw people I could identify at collation centers pushing at the vehicle of the deputy governor and saying, leave here, let the people's votes count. And, so the people can also say they want somebody.
Yes.
And they will defend it. So
it's beyond the governor's
It's beyond,
interest,
but
people.
The governor can start a new narrative by giving room, but the people must also see credibility in Ms. Shitu, the young girl.
Yes,
Well,
fantastic. That's a fantastic
Yes,
point.
and being an online content creator,
She had the popularity.
she had the popularity. A good number of peers, age mates, wanted to support her, wanted her to win. What just needs to be done is to build
Followership.
on this, so that we can get more and more young people,
And
more and more women.
She has just blazed the
politics.
trail, because a lot of young people that want to get in office, this is another format they can actually copy, where you have an online following, people see your commitment, and you now take that to the
They know
post.
what
They
to
will follow
stand
you.
for.
They know what you stand for. And
in
it's a
Kwara,
good format to follow.
online might not just be the only thing. In the kind of area she's from, I saw videos of her being hugged. It has to be grassroots.
Yeah.
Yes.
She could relate with the people.
be on ground.
Spoke their language. Hugged. She was hugging people. You will see it in a proper
also
village
did
setting.
grassroots politics.
So she did grassroots politics. So you must appeal within the area you want to.
And you must work with your party.
Work with your party.
Let's also let's move a bit to Akwa Ibom, the happy hour governor-elect. He was saying recently that he's going to make Fridays the happy hour, go to the bars,
bar.
drink, hang out.
Almost free.
Officially. And people were thinking, what kind of man is this one? But now he's governor-elect. How did that happen?
Happy hour.
How did that happen?
Akwa Ibom, the presidential election was won by PDP, so I knew all along that PDP will win the election. In fact, I predicted it. And this man actually got his mandate validated by the Supreme Court just not long ago. There was a real struggle for that ticket. But once the Supreme Court gave him the all clear, I knew that he was going to win. Because the truth is, these governors, a lot of them, their hands are not clean. They want to put their own people in power so that they can cover up their misdeeds. So you see the determination with which governors approached the governorship election, especially outgoing governors. They didn't approach the presidential election in like manner. So you look at Yobe, for example. PDP won Yobe State, but this time around, the governor won easily. Even where people had predicted that power could change, like Gombe, for example, based on what transpired during the presidential election. The governor won easily. So the governors put so much energy in mobilization during this governorship election to ensure that, one, they remain in office, and where they actually live in office,
Influence.
they made sure that they got their people, their own candidates to succeed them. And we've seen also a governor, like the governor of Edo State, his party came third in the presidential election. Clearly, it's no longer as popular as it used to be. Yes. I doubt if it's even popular anymore. But because it was clear that if the APC, which came second in the presidential election, should dominate the House, then it could be impeached because of all kinds of misdeeds attributed to him.
Thus, we're still discussing the review for last weekend's elections, and we're discussing the happy hour governor-elect, because many people thought his pronouncement was a bit off. But what do you think? I mean, let me come to you. BC, you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask. So, you know, sometimes we sit back from the outside and then we believe that we know better than the people who are living the dream, right? And for him to emerge as a winner, apparently the people in his states like the idea of the happy hour. Or do you think there's also another reason why he may have been, you know, elected to represent them once again?
I think from the off, only one party could have won that election, and that party is the PDP. The PDP has dominated the politics of that state since 1999. They've never failed to win any election there. You know, Akpabio was a very popular governor, but the moment he crossed to the APC, he couldn't even win his senatorial zone. You know, he won only one local government in the senatorial zone, and effectively, the PDP candidate, Ekpeyong, was elected as senator to represent Akpabio. Akpabio won only in Esienodim, his hometown. So PDP is like a religion.
Already had it, yes. So
like a religion in that place. And
happy hour or not, he would have still been.
Yes, even without coming up with the idea of happy hour, he would still have won. I'm very confident because the party will have worked for him and the party remains strong. Look at, by far the most popular individual in Uyo was Senator Albert. But the moment he left the PDP, that was like a fish out of water. That's to tell you how popular the PDP is in that state. The APC is coming up strong now in Akwa Ibom State. In the presidential election, the APC scored 160,000 votes to PDP's, I think, 204,000. The margin was about 54,000, I remember. So that should tell you that the APC is coming up strong, you know?
Gradually.
Coming up strong. So maybe in the next few years, things could change.
Okay.
There could be a change of battle in terms of the leadership of the state. But for now...
Let me get one more question in for this.
Okay, so what happened when Akpabio handed over to Udom, still then the PDP? We saw an immediate switch, almost like Udom had his separate plan. Government wasn't a continuum. So are we open? Can we say we would see this new governor, you know, continue some of the wins of his predecessor?
It is not cast in stone. You see, I always advise these politicians to just allow party members to have a level playing field. You can almost kill yourself trying to get your favorite aspirant to win the primaries of the party. Once he wins, he can turn against you.
Exactly. So it's not
he
about
can turn against you as soon as he gets there. Bukola Saraki quarreled with his father, for example. You know, after his father made him governor, he quarreled with his dad. And when it was time for him to leave, he also made sure that his father's choice did not win the election by adopting the whole idea of power shift to Kwara South from Kwara Central that are dominated for many
It doesn't
years.
matter if your candidate is progressive. It's not about you making sure that your own candidate comes.
Yes, most of them. Okay, let's look at Gombe. What is happening in Gombe now? The governor and his godfather had been at loggerheads. Before then, the former governor and this same godfather were also at loggerheads. In fact, the Dan Kwambo, the former governor, did not visit his godfather since the day he was inaugurated as governor. So when the godfathers, that's Dajuma Goje, when his wife died, that was the day the governor now said, this same woman used to feed you here. You used to come here all the time. But the moment we inaugurated you,
We didn't see you again.
you stopped coming. Governors want to be their own man.
Yeah.
They want to be in total
Full
control. And
Or is it not about this legacy thing? So you don't want to continue what your predecessor, you want to stand
do
up,
your own.
and then so you stop. Unlike what we see in Lagos, where Governor Sanwo-Olu continued the Agege Pensinima Bridge and finished what Ambode started, because, you know, Lagos is a country. And then you just see a governor coming in Akwa Ibom, whatever Akpabio must have done.
Stop
Where
it.
is the hospital? It was
All right,
like,
I want us to go back
was
to
a
this
strange party
celebration.
that
We don't want to analyze too much because we are still in a celebration mood. There's so much to talk about. There's time for analysis. But we just want to just see all the intricacies that happened within the elections last weekend. So let's go to...
let me just chip in.
Yes.
Saying the happy hour thing will make sense if the governor can translate that to employment generation.
Revenue.
For example,
Revenue.
he can go into tourism, you know, boost tourism. Those young people will also be involved. They will be happy. He can turn Akwa Ibom to something similar to what Donald Duke did with the carnival in Cross River.
Yes.
Something that will even outlast him.
Yeah.
You know, not simply to say you are encouraging people drinking on Friday.
So you can be in Lagos on Friday. So, you know, I meet you in Akwa Ibom for Fridays. There's happy hour on Friday in Akwa Ibom. Let's all meet in Akwa Ibom because it's become a culture that everybody knows. On Friday we're all going to Akwa Ibom for happy hour because the governor is. So it can become a tourism destination. No, but let's.
It should be much more than drinking.
Yes, for happiness.
Dancing.
Something tangible.
Culture,
Yes.
Let's go to Oyo State. Governor Seyi Makinde, he has been re-elected. In Oyo State, many people felt that there was a lot of competition between him and the APC. They thought it was a bit funny because many thought that he worked for Asiwaju's presidency candidacy, and they felt that everybody should collapse their structures to support him. But the APC man said, no way, I'm going this head on. What do you think happened in Oyo State? Do you think that those are actually, there was serious fights between the APC and the PDP candidates in that state?
You see, people like to describe Seyi Makinde as a naive politician, somebody who should not be in politics, because having been in corporate Nigeria for so long, he had his own ideas about how things should run. And some of those ideas really are antithetical to the political culture in our country. So people get frustrated by some of his methods. But when he decided to join the G5, other governors,
rebellious governors,
he was the first to come out to say, I will not vote for you. He told Atiku in plain language, I will not vote for you. So by saying to him that he will not vote for him, he already made it clear that his support was for someone else. I mean, it's inconceivable to think that, for the presidential election, he will simply lock up and go and rest at home. He has to have a candidate of his own. And remember when Asiwaju visited the state, he said something. He said, in Oyo State, Asiwaju Newa. So people interpreted that to mean that, he wanted to support Asiwaju. There is no doubt about it that in that election, there was an instruction
Yes.
that Asiwaju
That's who we're supporting.
should be, they should vote for
Yeah.
Asiwaju. Now, it came with so much collateral damage because all the, most of the PDP candidates, the senatorial candidates,
Yes.
lost because people kept voting for,
APC.
yes, they kept voting for the
APC.
APC because that was the instruction that they got. There ought to have been some form of a counter instruction to say, for this National Assembly elections,
Yes.
we'll do our own.
Yeah.
But the people just went out and
Does
kept
the
Bandwagon
APC
effect.
so they continued to vote Asiwaju. It became a problem. When those guys lost, the threat of rebellion
Yes.
was rife. The governor had to move around to placate the people like Ilaka from Oyo Town, who used to be the governor's chief of staff. He lost his bid for the Senate. So the governor had to go around, placate these people. And then for the APC, a good number of the power people within the APC in Oyo State, having realized that Governor Seyi Makinde supported the presidential candidate of their own party,
Yes.
they were already anticipating the shame, the opprobrium that will come in the event of Seyi Makinde losing the... You can even guess how
Yeah.
people like Dino Melaye
Yes.
would, because already they were telling you are all failures
Yes.
because some of them lost the Senate.
Yes.
senator.
Yes. Yes.
So the people were already imagining how the PDP leadership will react to it. They will mock him. They will almost laugh him out
Yeah.
of town.
Yes.
So they didn't want that to happen because should that happen in future, anybody in Seyi Makinde's shoes will be
never do.
reluctant to play the Omoluabi
Yeah.
role because he
Yes.
just felt, look, this thing should go back to the South.
Yes.
I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a good party man, therefore I will support my party. There is an Asiwaju on the ballot. He's from the Southwest. Let me support him. So he did that. Now, with some of the Asiwaju loyalists determined in their hearts to not let Seyi lose,
Yes.
Seyi effectively split the APC
Total.
voting bloc into two.
So yeah, that's what happens.
Some of them went for him. Then the
How come the
crucial...
APC guy did not do the Omoluabi factor of also stepping down for Seyi Makinde?
No, don't also... See, sometimes, you see, I always warn against...
Bandwagon.
how do I describe it? When the campaign is extremely caustic, when there's so much anger, so much name-calling,
Tension.
so much bad blood generated during the campaign, it's usually difficult for people to say, one, you defeated me, I agree, I congratulate you. If you go back to the debate, there was a debate conducted in Yoruba between Teslim Folani and Governor Seyi Makinde. They were abusing one another like children. You know, it got so bad, and I'm like, well, this is a sitting governor. There should be respect.
Decorum.
They were abusing one another like children. So I knew that, look, so much bad blood
Already.
will naturally not permit.
That step down.
Yeah. So even the APC members who supported Makinde did it discreetly.
Yes.
It's just like someone told me that he was sure that Makinde would not have scored that quantum of votes in Ibadan if the king of Ibadan politics himself, Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, had not supported him. But Ladoja had his own party, Accord, had a candidate. So even if he would do that, he has to also do it discreetly. But the endorsement of the Olubadan in council
Yes.
was unprecedented.
Yes.
When he contested in 2019, he didn't get that endorsement. But that endorsement was a game
Even though
changer.
the Oba Alao was here, Olugbon was here, and he said the same thing, that we are all supporting Makinde. For
They didn't want him to be put to shame for doing what made
Yeah.
a lot of people happy.
So we're discussing Oyo State. You had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, so I wanted to know your perspective because I realized that this particular election saw people who were in a different political party supporting candidates in another political party just because they believe in that candidate. Where do you think this takes us as Nigeria?
I think it's a healthy development. In fact, in a lot of the states where we thought the Labour Party would win, we found the Labour Party apparatchik in those states coming together to say, this is the candidate that we are supporting outside of their own party. It happened in Ebonyi. It happened in Enugu. You know, politics is local. It's just like, oh, we supported Obi in the presidential election. But in this election, we can't find who is good enough for us.
Better alternative.
Therefore,
We're picking another
we
political
think that, okay, the candidate of the PDP is better. So that's what they've done in Ebonyi. The Speaker of the House of Assembly is the APC candidate. And the Labour Party said, look, we are supporting this fellow. Even in Rivers, they did the same thing, although the party leadership now said no, that we do not agree with what has happened. We are going to dissolve the ESCO. And the ESCO in the state said, no, you cannot dissolve us. So incrementally, we are seeing this kind of alliances or endorsement from party candidates that we thought were even strong enough to win. Because if normally people would have expected that the way Labour Party swept the presidential election, yes, that at least they should be able to produce a good number of governors, at least 11 governors.
That fear was there. Many people thought that this hurricane would be coming, would definitely. But so, as you said, that politics is local. So, yes, there's one, we can all come together on one umbrella for the presidential.
Yes.
When it comes to governance at the local level, Nigerians seem to want to be able to choose individually.
People they trust, yes.
People they trust, who they work with.
Yes, that's the thing. You look at Cross River. Obi won the presidential election in Cross River. But in the governorship election, the Labour Party was nowhere to be seen. You know? And in some cases, their own candidates were just not good enough. You know, after Obi joined Labour Party, some people just went to meet him there. And they were just giving people tickets. You know, some of them were not good enough.
So does it mean that Labour still has work to do? The reason is because I thought, the thing was that when Hurricane Obi came, many people now see the opportunity to revive the Labour Party within their states, thinking that by the time we get more governors from Labour Party, they can build on that towards 2027. But the way it's looking so far, do you feel that Labour still needs to go back again and still begin to recruit more people to get a proper structure within
I also
the states?
think that some of the governors in the states worked on the Labour Party structures, the Labour Party leadership in their states, offered money and all of that to ensure that, look, they were not affected by that Hurricane Obi. I know, for example, that in Enugu State, the people who always decide who becomes governor in Enugu State, the Unamanis of this world, they had been saying no, that it is Umba, it is Peter Umba that they wanted. And they got many people to support them. So I wasn't surprised when Labour Party said, well, this is the person that... it could also be that some of these candidates in the states, people don't know them very well. Because we've seen them simply endorsing and even stepping down for people that Obi could not have agreed to.
Yes.
So, but you have a candidate in the state, Labour Party, you don't even know him. You don't know what's his pedigree. You see the sort of person who will fold easily under pressure. And that's what we've seen. So, for me, I'm happy that even outside of Labour, there were other parties too that were saying, look, let's not waste our time. This is the best person for the job. We saw a lot of that happened, especially during this governorship election. Added to that was what I said earlier, that the kind of zeal, the determination that governors put into this thing because they into the governorship race. Yeah. They want to win and they want to install their successor. So they didn't spare any effort. They worked out. If it meant talking to rival parties, they were prepared to do it. So
let's move to Ogun State, Mr. Otitoju. I want us because we have little time left. Ogun State was quite close. I mean, it was like he just managed. I mean, 13,000 is a small figure.
Yes.
I mean, for a sitting governor to be almost overthrown by the PDP. How did that happen? I mean, people know Adebutu was obviously very, very popular. You know, people were even scared that Adebutu had lost.
Yes.
So what do you think happened in Ogun State?
First and foremost, Ibikunle Amosun's anti-party activities. Ibikunle Amosun, the immediate past governor, decided to work for the candidate of the ADC, be Otegbe. And Otegbe got more than 90,000 votes. You can imagine that if the 90,000 votes went to Dapo,
yes.
Of course, Dapo will have had an unassailable lead, a much more comfortable lead. In 2019, Dapo won with just about 20,000 votes, very close. This time around, 13,915. And some of the balloting in Ogun East, naturally you want to give Ogun East to Dapo. But here was Adebutu even flogging the governor in his hometown. Both of them are from the same hometown, Iperu. So in the contest in that hometown of theirs, it was Adebutu that prevailed. And then beyond even Iperu, Shagam, Adebutu also prevailed. I think that generally, because Adebutu too had been in the race for some time, and you know, he's generous, his father is very rich. Yes. He had been working on the people in that area. It's like Ogun East was his major catchment area. He concentrated on that place because naturally a governor like Dapo, who had done a lot of work in that area,
shouldn't have problem. You
should expect that he should have a kind of block votes coming from Ogun East, his own constituency. But even in Ikene, he lost. So I think that the fact that Adebutu had been working hard in that area was a factor. I also think that the anti-party activities of Ibikunle Amosun was a factor because he shouldn't have been permitted to go outside of his party to openly support another candidate. So where we didn't expect Prince Dapo Abiodun to do well, communities that he had abandoned, they are bad roads. Yeah, they were his saving grace in the end.
Imagine.
He got his best votes from even Songo or those areas. I was surprised. Yes, those are the people that gave him the votes. He would have lost the election. He got the bug vote.
YK is always talking about that road.
No,
there's another factor that
he has started doing roads in that area. About a week to the election, we saw them. They even put.
He was lucky.
When YK comes, you come and help us verify.
Asphalt lane.
I think what worked against Dapo Abiodun of Ogun was the lack of infrastructure, completing those connecting roads that Lagos State would have finished halfway, and the rest of the side of Ogun State was abandoned. But we are grateful that, you know, he got re-elected. So let's him come back and face governance properly. But we saw something happen. The Kwankwansias standing their ground in Kano, establishing that this is the source of Kwankwansia movement. The NNPP have now, you know, ousted APC in Kano. How did this even happen? Let's just see a bit of history.
We saw videos of them escorting the electoral.
Maybe those
they escorting them
to the polling chairs.
I was like,
They followed it.
what? The pictures.
They did not lock an estate and lock INEC
followed
officially. They escorted them all the
electoral-
way by foot
to the police
collation center.
Wow.
You see the pictures?
No, I didn't
The
see the
crowd, like they're following the cars. This thing was not
With leg,
changed.
with leg.
No, you see, the Kwankwasia movement is a tremendous movement in Kano. He doesn't give them money. He doesn't even buy pure water for them. But they are ready to die for this man.
Wow.
I think in the final analysis, when you build people, they are going to be there for you. 8 out of the people who won election into the House of Assembly, 8 out of them were students that Kwankwaso sent on training abroad. No, we sent, some of them graduated as aeronautic engineers. These were students, young people. That's why you see young people going after him, because they believe, look, this man is our future. We can do anything for him. He sent them, depending on your area, your field, your area of competence. He sent them to different countries abroad. Now, I can say without equivocation that Kwankwaso is even more popular now than 2019.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in 2019, he could not win in the hinterland. He dominated the balloting in the city center, I mean in the metropolis.
Yes.
But the governor, Ganduje, won in the hinterland. In fact, the governor defeated him in his local government of Madobi in Kano, to tell you that Governor Ganduje dominated the hinterland. But that's not what we are seeing these days.
Is it not
You
protest?
can imagine a Kabiru Gaya who had been in the Senate for some time, chairman, Senate Commission, INEC, being defeated in a senatorial zone by Kawu Sumaila. So I think that the disappointment of 2019 energized them, made them stronger, and made them more determined that this time around, Abba Kabir Yusuf. Abba Kabir Yusuf.
I see a protest against the party in power. Kwankwaso has always had a movement. I have a security that travels to Kano to vote. He's a Kwankwaso. He doesn't joke about it. So what changed now? Is it not, except the people are falling out with the governor?
You see, don't also forget that even this cash crunch turned people, a lot of the people decided to not vote for APC.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
They have every reason to not vote for APC.
Yes.
We are a government who allow this kind of policy so close to the election, that a policy that inflicts so much pain on our people.
Yes. Yeah,
you put your money in the bank, your money gets confiscated by Mefele, and then when you need money, they decide
How much you should get.
Somebody in our office at Theophilus, one of our reporters, was paid 1,000 naira across the counter. What disgrace can be better than that? What further evidence do you need that this is a shambolic policy, at least shambolic in its implementation? So many of the people who are tired of the way they've been treated by the government in power will also go towards the Kwankwasia group. There are many people like that who made up their minds.
I mean, what I love most about this 2023 election is that there's so many learning curves, so many lessons. You can have a whole course on 2023 elections in Nigeria.
Let me tell you, people will say all sorts of things about this election. Oh, it's the most, it's the worst election in our history. Absolute rubbish. This election, we've never had an election since 1999 that allowed the people to express their desires like this last one. APC lost 12 states in the presidential election alone. 20 states, 20 governors lost their states in the presidential election. We've never had an election like that. 7 governors failed to win senatorial election. In the past, they will simply have
automatically enter.
But
across country.
Yes.
Across the state.
Seven people are now saying, no, it's the worst. How is it the worst?
You must
when
talk
Atiku
about...
says that's the worst, Atiku knows in his heart that he's being dishonest. Because during Obasanjo's time, the vote that Obasanjo recorded in Ogun State was higher than the number of registered voters in the state. In those days, they were just
That's why they say it doesn't have a moral ground to be telling anything.
Yes, they were just doing these things the way they liked. In Adamawa State, for example, somebody had been congratulated only for them to change the result. I think that was in 2003. They changed the result.
Yes.
He had been congratulated, though. There was even a form that was already filled a day before the election, indicating that a party had won in an election that had not been conducted. It was that bad then. It was that bad then. So for
But it can still be better.
We are progress.
Beavers has made it extremely difficult to rig an election. And I want INEC to continue this idea of uploading the result on the public viewing portal, because you can now cross-check whether what was uploaded matches
And it
what
was,
was
and it was not an
generated
imputed figure. It's a JPEG. So it's a picture.
Yes.
Once I see somebody impute on
no.
polling and write 2 here, I'm going to write 4. There's no imputing. It's a picture. So if your picture doesn't match, then there's a problem.
Then what do you do in that case?
That's what
With that result,
you go
you
to
at
court.
any electoral
Go to court.
tribunal, you stand a
Go
chance.
to court.
I'm going to
Because
court.
If it pass,
everybody will have his copy. The police will have a copy.
It's true.
You know, that's why we have this problem in Adamawa, for example. Because people are saying, no, at the level of the polling, I mean, even the local government, the result had been known. So it's difficult
for them to change
for somebody to call from.
I have to go on a break.
Maybe I saw rock and say, oh, change that result for me. It's difficult.
Everybody has seen it. And we're moving on to Lagos. Lagos was everybody, all eyes pretty much on Lagos. And somehow described it as almost like a landslide result because it was 762 plus.
It's the definition of landslide.
So that's what you call a landslide. And people were really worried about the hurricane Obi again. They felt that the Obi hurricane was going to consume the votes in Lagos. What do you think happened, Liz? Especially because there were pockets of disruptions, intimidation across board. And many also said that people put focus as if it was only Lagos that there were disruption and intimidation, but intimidation was across the nation.
Yes.
However, all social media kept saying, oh, Lagos, Lagos, Lagos. What are your own thoughts on what happened in Lagos on Saturday?
First and foremost, violence occurred in many parts of our country.
Yes.
See, the violence that happened in some states, even in the north, was greater than what we had in Lagos.
Yes.
But they always focus on Lagos. It's Lagos that they are talking about. I saw a video shot in the southeast where a woman was saying, they started shooting us, so they don't want us to vote. The video went viral, and it was in the southeast. Look at what happened in Ebonyi. They attacked the polling station, seized beavers machines, and set the beavers machines as well as other ballot materials ablaze. Ivy Kano, our reporter, even covered it. You see the ballot materials being burnt in Ebonyi. But people will hardly talk about it. It's Lagos that they are talking about, you know. the Lagos, as much as Lagos has been good to many of its inhabitants, many people here are ungrateful to the city of Lagos. All they want to talk about Lagos is negativity, negativity all the time. Give the impression that this is the worst place to live in. But that's where they are making their living. And a good number of them are comfortable. But all they can do is just badmouth the city of Lagos. So I'm not surprised that on social media especially, it is Lagos and Rivers that they are talking about. Of course, that is deliberate. When you see people focusing on just 2 states, look at Kebbi, for example. They are going to have, what is it called, a supplementary election. Because a lot of elections were cancelled in many polling units. So the level of carnage there in Kebbi, we didn't see here in Lagos. But how come they are not talking about it?
But,
So the focus is usually Lagos, 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 Lagos. No one is saying that it makes sense to go and stop people from voting. It's irresponsible, it's barbaric to stop people from voting. But do not give the feeling that it is only here that is happening. Even in Cross Rivers, the people were attacked. These facts are there. But to give the impression that it's only 2 states, Rivers and Lagos. And I said something recently. I said, okay, even if you took away the entire Southwest votes and the entire Rivers votes, Asiwaju will still win the election because he will still score over 7 million votes.
Yes.
And neither Atiku nor Obi got up to 7 million votes. So take away the entire Southwest votes. So this is somebody has won the election. Well, there's so much bad blood, so much effort to show the election as the worst.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to say this in pidgin. They say person way that they look, no, they look. So if you're a masquerade and you're performing and you're dancing and all eyes are on you, you wouldn't stop to start looking at your audience. You will be performing. Now, we know that in Lagos State, there are always eyes. This is like the economic stronghold of the country as a whole. And people would always look. People will always pay attention, especially to what happens in Lagos, because it's the center of excellence. Lagos is a pace setter in so many things. And it should also be a pace setter in the elections. And that's why people will look and talk about Lagos. But what I saw, you know, was the violence that we talked about, which was largely spread all across social media. And in your view, for me personally, I expected the governorship aspirant, governor-elect, whether incumbents or otherwise, to have spoken up. Maybe that would have calmed the people who felt they could take laws into their own hands. But it now seemed like everybody just kept mum and we're focusing on just waiting for the results. What do you think about the governor not saying something about the violence?
The violence that took place during the election?
During the elections.
I can't speak for him. For me, I condemn violence wherever it happens. I think that there was so much bad blood going into the Lagos election.
Too much.
People were angry. And people
on both sides.
On both sides, because of all the rubbish about Lagos being no man's land and all that. And look, for a lot of people, they didn't even need extra motivation to come out and vote.
Yes.
Those who were angry, who did not come out to vote during the presidential election, they came out. Even people within the APC who were unhappy with their party and the way they've been treated, they came out because of that feeling that, they are saying Lagos is no man's land. Is this how we'll be watching? They came out. In Magodo here, they didn't beat anybody up. Those old men came out and were saying, we are voting. You know, they voted. Nobody beat anybody up. And they voted, and the pattern of voting and the nature of the result was different to the last one. You see, APC made a mistake in the first election. The mobilization was not enough. Even agents were not paid. In some polling units, APC did not have agents in the last election. I'm saying that. And we said, look, you didn't mobilize for this election. Asiwaju came into town, called a meeting, changed the people who were supposed to be custodians of the money. He changed them, got some other people involved,
To handle it.
those who had been doing this with him for years. Yes. And the money, in fact, as early as Thursday, some of the agents have received their money.
Right.
You think it won't reflect on the way they will work,
Mobilize.
the way they will mobilize? So the pattern changed. Look at Alimosho. Look at the kind of voice coming from Alimosho.
Yes.
People, it wasn't as if those people were not there before. But the party behaved like the people did not matter. So now, after losing the election, they reached out to them in Isolo. They reached out to Shame, master mobilizer of people. Reached out to him. He had been angry. Reached out, and they've decided to work together. That's what we have seen.
Let me get a few more questions.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And when you say Sanwo-Olu scored, if you add the votes scored by the second and
Yes,
the third,
372,000.
and then you multiply it
Times.
by 2, Sanwo-Olu still scored higher than them.
Yeah.
That's the definition of a landslide. You know?
So I wanted to talk about, because Sanwo-Olu would have won this election whether or not
Intimidation.
Togri did not happen in Amowo-Odofi, because how many votes are these areas where we're talking about?
Yes.
The Labour Party candidate could not win his own polling unit where he is resident.
And nobody beat anybody.
And there was no fighting there. So the narrative that the whole of Lagos is under fire. That's not the
No, but
narrative.
it's
But I
social
couldn't-
media,
Yes.
people tend to mislead. They are out to mislead.
I couldn't vote because early morning, Onireke, there were already gunshots. You will see the town boys coming out to say, you people want to take our land. This narrative, they were threatening. By afternoon, my polling unit, everybody hold their head. We ran back in, and there was no voting.
So
And
you're
the issue has not resolved till now. My neighbors are now rushing to take their cars out of the street. People are guarding their houses. Nobody is sleeping anymore at night. Where are we going exactly? Which is why I wanted to add to it what BC have said. The elections are over. We already know what the results have read. When will the governor address, angry nerves?
True.
We need to calm things down.
I think he said, even in his
acceptance
speech,
speech,
he
she
said
said that.
He said, let's come together.
And
that,
work together.
yes,
But I
that
would
he doesn't
also
want violence in Lagos. He said all of
So
that
I would
in
also
acceptance
want a particular direct address to the people in Abule Osun, Irede community, Onireke, all the way into Ojo, where this was high. Husbands and wives are fighting right now that are married intra-tribal marriages. Yeah. People everywhere is tense.
That's why these tribal narratives are dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yes. For me, when I was a young man growing up in Kano, I had girlfriends who were Igbo. And in fact, I could say if I had not been transferred to Lagos, maybe I would have married an Igbo woman. You know? So people have intermarried, and then we are spreading hate among ourselves. Yes. It makes no sense.
At all.
It makes no sense. Election, I've said it before, it's just that people don't listen. There's no reason to endanger your own life because of a politician. The Nigerian politicians are not that responsible for you to want to stake your life on them.
Please say it again, sir. Say it again. Let them hear.
You are blocking yourselves on social media because of a politician. Are you
still go back and say
you are fighting your wife? You are fighting your wife?
Since you have even mentioned it, let's talk about the thuggery. Because just this morning, somebody is cursing and asking tankers parked in Ijegu to follow my car and kill my family.
Jesus.
So if I have a choice, I am a journalist, I wouldn't have posted my choice. But the threats were just up to here. And by nature, as an adult girl, I will post it. Okay, so what do you want to do? So now you come on our pages, you're threatening. It is a choice. You made your choice. Can I make my own?
Some people don't want other people to.
And you say that is not thuggery?
Yeah.
And we're only addressing election day violence?
It's cyber thuggery.
Yeah.
Those abusing people, those who do not think that you have a right to make your choice.
Yeah.
Like when Morayo said, okay, this is the person that I want to support. They make it look like it's unreal. But even in the US, we saw even broadcasters publicly say, okay, we are against Trump.
And
the CNN fought him from day one.
Yes.
They never left him alone.
Yes.
You know, so, and even newspapers, tabloids in the US, they even, in the editorial, they will say, we have endorsed this
person.
And they expect the people who read them to do the same. Yeah. So it's not even strange for journalists to have preferences, political preferences, but to make it look like you are an animal.
It's not allowed here.
Come and say, oh, Jide, we thought you were a man of
Let's talk about Governor Sanwo-Olu's speech, because, I mean, it's important for us to reiterate some of the important things he said. He did say that if you truly love Lagos, he's willing to open his door for those of you that were in the contest with him, even in his government. What is implying? Because that hopefully should douse the tension. That say, I am opening my doors. We all love Lagos. Everything that was done is because we all want this to work.
Some people are difficult to placate. The APC primaries that we had, presidential primaries, there are still people who have not forgiven Asiwaju for winning. Despite the fact that I even went to see them one after another. Yeah. Some people are difficult to placate, but the job of the government is to calm the tension down. The tension in Lagos is not what we're happy to see. The energy of Lagos, you cannot say that that energy is concentrated on a particular ethnic group. Yeah. Everyone has jumped in to make Lagos the place, I mean, the beautiful place that it is. And we don't need to hate one another. People are behaving, these people, especially our young people, they never play politics in their life. They don't even understand politics. Yeah. Why are you abusing people for their choices?
When you were talking about this, I have some young people that work with me. And I was saying them straight that growing up, My father was exiled by the military junta.
Yes.
I didn't see my father because he was in exile, because of the military. I suffered as a child also, where you know that your father was being chased and you're getting crank calls. These are things people go through, but you have no idea. You just assume somebody just woke up tomorrow and say, I want to be president. Because they've seen the journey. They've been there from the beginning all the way. They understand what is going on. And now they're saying they want to be president. So why is such a big deal? So, I mean, people are different, as we said, and it's important for us to respect people's choices. However, as we are reconciling this state, especially, whether we like it or not, Lagos is a melting pot.
Yes.
We are all here, and we all contribute. Is that we all contribute to the development of the economy of this state.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. How do you think the governor can begin to reconcile? Because if we don't fix it from that top, it will trickle down to schools, to offices, to marriages already,
It's
to
trickling
relationships.
down already.
People are already being fearful of each other, suspecting each other because, oh, you're from this, oh, you're from that. How do you fix it?
You know, the thing is, I don't think the ethnic thing will even break marriages. It's the choices
of the candidates.
Yes. There are people who believe that it will be or nothing. They don't want you to argue.
Have an opinion.
They don't want you to have an opinion.
Don't choose another.
They want everyone to believe that Obi is the best. Where you think that Obi, where you are convinced that Obi is not the best, then you don't have integrity, you are an animal.
Yeah,
there's no name that they won't
You are
call
a
you.
thief.
They abuse you, and curse your children. This is what we are seeing. I don't think any speech by someone will make such people to change, because it's difficult to explain this course of action. What kind of reasoning is this that will make a man turn against his wife because of political choices? Even in the we are just not mature politically. As
Can we even
in the US, you see the wife is a Democrat, the husband is a Republican.
Yes.
But they will be joking, they will be exchanging
Can we
banters.
even use the narrative in Lagos, for instance? I have been in the dominated PDP areas. I have lived there since I got married. And I have never seen the APC do anything there that will be recognized. We were falling in the craters on Badagry Expressway before this governor became governor. And one visit to that area, there was, and in fact, the entire intention of Lagos was on that area. But today, they will tell you, so, he not do anything. At the polling unit, you will see the conversation, like, hate a man, but give him his credit.
No, they will not.
So what exactly will he say to people like that?
And when some of us give somebody credit, they say we don't have integrity. Oh, we used to think you had integrity. Oh, it's not in your place to give me any form of
Emefiele has
validation.
integrity when farmers
When they were standing by Emefiele, standing by an incompetency behavior,
and they had
and you thought
rice now from the farm. This is the season when we should be enjoying cheaper rice. We are still paying higher than we paid because the farmers have lost.
Let me ask you this question. Go ahead, Bisi, let me let you jump in.
So, you know, I used to feel that we can speak English however we like, but we are not the ones on the streets that we push for this. You know, we saw this play out where some thugs and, you know, people you call hoodlums took over and said, this is what will happen in this polling station.
Yes.
You know, driving people, flogging. There were videos of them flogging people out of the polling station. Yes. How do you think we can begin to communicate to those people? Because they... No, not the thugs. I'm talking about Lagos State
the
now.
Local lords instruct.
That feel that...
It seems like they are there.
They are there, they are present, we cannot ignore them, because even if we understand that it's okay for you to like this party...
The question to ask is, did they do that in 2019?
Yes.
They were flogging people and saying
No, they didn't.
There's always been thugging, but not flogging.
But not flogging.
That's why I said, look, the nasty rhetorics that enveloped the political space in the days leading to this election led to this violence. I mean, we saw election here in 2019.
Yes.
It didn't go like this.
This way.
That people will say you must, if you can't, not ready to vote for
don't
APC,
come out.
Stay at home.
don't come here.
Didn't do that.
It didn't happen.
So they felt that they've been somebody called on Loju kind of thing.
Yes.
That was a reaction.
That's why I gave the example of
Reactionary.
Magodo here. APC lost in Kosovo here in the last election. But This time around, they came out, even the old men.
In my polling unit, a woman, very old woman, two people were holding her hands. She made sure she came out to vote. We didn't see her the last
So
time.
that she will not go
But
after her ancestors that the land is no longer Yoruba land when she cross over.
They will take your
land.
Yes.
So was the narrative.
Traditional rulers. You know, the humiliation. So they didn't want
You
that
remove
to
our
happen.
traditional, you remove the custodian of our culture. In my polling unit, for instance, the gist, I was saying to someone, it's secret ballot for a reason, so that you are
Yours is
protected.
Amuwo Odofin, just
Yes, Amuwo Odofin. You know, I vote in Ojo.
Okay.
I live in Amuwo. So the narrative is secret. I mean, sorry, the ballot is secret to protect you. So vote. If you want to watch it, stand and watch it. But the conversations at the polling unit are so provocative. I saw some of the indigents, the way they were cowering into their corners during the presidential elections. I was like, thank God, though, it was safe. But the fear I had played out during the governorship.
Yeah.
So they were voting. People had chairs. People were drinking. They were conversing in different languages. And I just saw all of a sudden, things just changed. The people are now saying, we asked you people not to come out to vote. We cannot lose our land. They have already sold. And so this narrative of the disrespect of the hosts
I've seen
is so
some of those
blatant
videos.
in the
You know,
faces.
once you shoot a video and it goes round, people can make their opinion, come up with their opinions on that video. There were some videos meant to provoke people.
Talking about provocation. So I have to
Yes.
pause you for that, sir, because I have very little time. Yes, the narrative was there, but there were some provocative tweets, provocative statements that have been made by people that should know better.
Yes.
Yes, things are already tense. But certain people, even within various parties, started saying things. Leaders who should be more educated and exposed, they were hitting things up. So who
That's the
can
nature-
caution them?
That's the nature of the Nigerian politician.
Okay.
The Nigerian politician wants to win. All this talk, I will talk to thugs. The politician finds the talk useful during elections. Some after elections they are abandoned.
Yeah.
Yes, now.
Truth.
That's how did militancy start in the South?
Southeast.
These were political thugs. How did Boko Haram start? Boko Haram men were people that politicians used as thugs. They used to call them Ekoma boys. They used them as thugs before. Then you abandon them with their weapons in their hand, weapons that you bought for them. Of course, they will turn to criminality. So the politician wants to win by every means possible. That's why some of them will state their talks to go and beat up people, stop them from getting to that place. I've been talking about this for over a week. I said, with beavers in place, elections are much more difficult to rig. So politicians now would rather not allow their opponents
vote at
to
all.
even get to a place where they will vote. So it's a problem that we have. It's a bad one. And it is not limited to Lagos, no matter how some people try to paint it. Everywhere.
Let me ask you a trick
happening.
question. So in Lagos, for example, is it possible that if people were allowed to vote without intimidation, that GRV would have won?
It will never have won.
How do you know that?
Is it with Abu?
I know that, see, if they mobilized the way they mobilized this time, they don't have the numbers. And I refer anyone listening to me, or even you, to the prediction I made about 3 days before the election. I said, this election, the pattern of voting will change.
Yeah.
I said it emphatically because I was sure. They simply failed to come out because a lot of them were angry and they were not mobilized. But the moment Asiwaju came into town, he said, you, deputy governor, you and this person, take over. The deputy governor was born into a highly political family.
Yes.
He knows what his father was a leader of the Justice Forum.
Yes.
You know, he knows
The people just
the thing about grassroots politics. And he
Then
said,
aside from-
handle this mobilization, disbursement of money. Disbursement of money is important. If you do not do it the right way, it will not get to some people. And if it doesn't get to them, they can even work
won't
against
work.
the party.
Yes.
You know? So let me tell you, the rate of mobilization.
There was no way that anybody else could have won.
No, even if you don't, that's why I gave did they beat people in Magodo here?
Did they beat in Alimosho?
They didn't have to beat people.
People counted their votes. Elections
They
were
didn't have to
peaceful.
beat people.
We have just a few
They
local
didn't have to
governments.
beat people. They don't have to beat people to win. Yes,
have to wrap
it could now maybe they will win some assembly seats, but
Not
GRV
the
cannot
governorship.
win the election.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's all we can take. Congratulations to all the winners. I think it's really good for our democracy to see that people's votes are counting. We're waiting for more announcements, especially for Adamawa. We're hoping that the numbers don't change because we saw the numbers already on IREV. We saw the expectations of the people. We hope that once we hear from Adamawa, then we can do another level of celebration because it will be a huge success to know that a woman has become the first governor. But we're waiting for that announcement officially from INEC. But congratulations to all the other winners, and we hope that in the next few days, everything will be restored. Cash will be restored, normalcy will be restored, and our sanity
People will be
restored,
calmer.
and we can move on
And
to
the
other
friendship.
things. And friendship
so
will be restored. That's all we can take on today's show.